And good evening and welcome to a very special edition of Sports Corner NFL Draft Edition. My name is Ralph Williams. Those of you who are first time watchers to the program, we have a comment section here in which you can comment on the program. Smoke and Jim Frazier is going to eventually join me here real soon. He's having some technical issues on his end. I just fixed the ones we had on our end. That's why we were running a little late tonight. Uh, all right, let's get started with the Steelers here, and let's get started with their. Let's take a look at their first round pick. They picked number 20, and let's take a look at some of the picks they've had since 2012. Let's go into a 10-year draft history. Uh, in 2012, they drafted David DeCastro. You know, DeCastro lasted pretty good. He lasted up to about 8 seasons with the Steelers, which actually was really good. And then in 13, Jarvis Jones, he was a bum. Ryan Shazier, we all know what happened to him. He ended up having some spinal cord injuries involving, during the game. And then Bud Dupree in 2015, he ended up getting hurt, and then he played one season, and then after that, he just went off into the sunset. He plays for the Titans now. Titans are regretting that they're paying him. He had a knee injury with them last year and hardly played. Artie Burns, he's been going around the league. TJ Watt, of course, you know what TJ Watt's been all about. 2018, Terrell Edmonds. We all know he was just re signed to a 1 year contract. You know, Terrell Edmonds was a third round pick anyway. And so, therefore, it turns out that he ended up being a first round pick because the Steelers ended up reaching out as far as this goes. And Devin Bush, and we all know what's going on with him. We didn't have a first round pick in 2020, but we drafted Chase Claypool from Notre Dame as a wide receiver. Najee Harris, as you know, last year we did that as well. Our offseason needs our quarterback, safety, guard, cornerback, safety. And now you can add wide receiver to that because we just lost 3 wide receivers in this draft this year. And the reason we lost them was because they were all free agents and the Steelers didn't bother signing them. Juju Smith Schuster went to Kansas City. Ray McLeod, he went to San Francisco. And then right after he went to San Francisco, Ray McLeod, James Washington went to the Dallas Cowboys. So there you are. We are there with that. So now we're short wide receivers. We just signed a new guy from New England who was a free agent, the Bogorski or whatever his name is. Yeah, we signed him. He's supposed to be a really good kick returner, and he is also supposed to be a very good slot wide receiver. He's supposed to be like another Ryan Shazier, but I'm hoping that perhaps Ryan Shazier, uh, he's not a Ryan Shazier because Ryan Shazier to me was just a waiver. He'd put his hand up in the air like this, and that's all he would do. And I thought that was pretty interesting that we gave up a pick on that. Now, off season priorities were supposed to be quarterback. Ben Roethlisberger retired after this past season, and Mason Rudolph, and then the sudden death of Dwayne Haskins. It just turns out that was the situation there. And now the Steelers were down to Mason Rudolph only. And then they signed Mitch Trubisky anyway before Dwayne Haskins passed. And what had happened was it was going to be Trubisky, Mason Rudolph, and Dwayne Haskins. Well, you know what happened to Dwayne Haskins, which we're all sad to hear about. But now we have a situation going on where we now need to really get a quarterback. We only have Trubisky and Mason Rudolph. Question is, who is going to be our starting quarterback? Mike Tomlin has indicated there will be a quarterback's competition between the two of them. The sad part about all this was Mason Rudolph has had to hang out all this time and wait for Ben to step away before he gets into this situation here. And it turns out that if we do go into the draft, I propose the Steelers stay where they are at number 20. I don't think that they need to really go into making a trade up or a trade down or whatever. But I do know that if they claim they can't get who they want in the first round and when they want, uh, there's going to be a situation where they're going to have to uh, possibly trade down and just go at a later pick if they think everything that they want is gone. All right. Number 20 could be an interesting pick. You could sit there and wait, see what comes to you. What you think you want to draft might not be there. Then you might have to go in another direction. Well, it turns out that we'll see where the Steelers go with number 20 this year. I think that the Steelers are going to sit there and wait. I think that if one of the quarterbacks falls to them that they want, they're going to take. Okay. I also believe that if the quarterback is not there, they're going to have to go into offensive line, defensive line. One thing is for sure, everybody, is that the Steelers are going to have to start worrying about the lines of scrimmage. Okay, both sides of the ball are terrible at lines of scrimmage, and they're going to have to really, really rectify this either in the draft and do some more free agency. Now, I know they got Mason Cole, James Daniels, free agent offensive lineman. Mason Cole is can be a center and can play guard. So can James Daniels. All right, so those guys are flexible. You got J.D. Hassenauer who can play multiple positions. They just re-signed him. The Steelers did. They still have Joe Haeg on the roster. Haeg was adequate. He played well when he was put in there, and so did John Legou. So that's where they're at with what they have there. They have Kendrick Green. They just re-signed Chuks Ogafart. So they just re-signed him. Yeah, I wasn't very, very, excited about that re-signing. I thought they should have let him walk away and bring in somebody else. You have Kevin Dotson back. You have Dan Moore Jr. And, so we'll see where this goes. Kendrick Green's going to probably play guard this year or, because he didn't work out real well at center. But he is training this year with Maurkice Pouncey. So we're going to find out if by some chance or stretch of the imagination, and he gets thrusted into that center's position spot again, which I highly doubt he will. That's why they signed Mason Cole. Or if by some chance there's a center available in the draft that would fit their needs, and bring his kid in that can play a center guard kind of thing, that might not be a bad idea. All right. But anyway, Monday night, I had a TV. I had my Sports Corner TV show. I had guest Claudio Rosanos and Joe Kuklis, who's a local draft expert. I tried to get him on the show tonight. He wasn't available. And I don't think Smoking Jim's coming on because I think his connection's bad. But that's fine. We'll do it here on our own tonight. Next Thursday night, 10:15 start time here. Sports Corner. We're going to be live on YouTube and Facebook. I'm going to have Scott Morganroth on from Florida. I'm going to try to get a couple other guys on, and we're going to have a nice little powwow about where our teams went in the draft. It's going to be a post-draft kind of show. Tuesday night, I'm going to have. I'm working on getting a guest on Tuesday night, and I'd like to talk about the Penguins and save our energy for the Thursday night podcast. But Sunday night, starting at 8 o'clock, we are going to have a post-draft Sports Corner special. And I'm going to work on getting some guests on for that as well. That's Sunday night at 8 o'clock on both YouTube and Facebook. So make sure you tune in to Sports Corner with me, Ralph Williams, right here on YouTube and Facebook. We're here live all the time. Anytime we're on the air, we're here live with that as well. But as I mentioned, we're going to have to basically, that's the way the schedule is. I had to move my Wrestle Talk show to last night because of other obligations for my co-host, Mark Mancini, which I understand. Friday night's The Way I See It show. We're going to have Brian Englert on. He's the president of the union representing the guards down at the county jail. And we're going to have him on to talk about the conditions down at the jail. So he'll be on tomorrow night with me at 7 p.m. So make sure you tune into that right here on YouTube and Facebook. And don't forget Saturday, 5 p.m., Sports Corner with me, Ralph Williams, and co-host Smoking Jim Frazier. Also, don't forget 4 o'clock is the Boxing Authorities, 5 o'clock Sports Corner with me and Smoking Jim, and then Steel City Sports World at 6 p.m. And that's this and every Saturday right here, right on PCTV channel 21 Comcast 47 Verizon Cable. All right, I'm going to go over my draft, who I think the Steelers should take, or how I believe they're going to have to, or they're going to take. I think the first round they should take this defensive tackle, Travis Jones. Now, Travis Jones is rated number 5 of all the defensive tackles that are in the draft. Okay, so that's why I think Travis Jones. He's a big guy. I think he can help us with the defense, help Cam Hayward a little bit. You know, they're missing the Casey Hampton element of this team, and they need to get that back. They're missing Javon Hargroves, who got signed by Philly. He was good at playing at that position of nose tackle, defensive tackle. Steelers were cheap; they didn't want to give him any money, so they let him walk, and he went to Philadelphia. All right. Now, I have nothing against Tyson Alawu. I have a problem with a guy that's going to be 36 years old and is injured right now, and nobody knows what he's going to do. All right. Then the Steelers are here. Here's another mystery. Hold on a minute. Who? Stephon Tuitt? Who's Stephon Tuitt? Oh, Stephon Tuitt. Yeah, that's right. He's the guy who is a defensive tackle for the Steelers. And he was hurt. But I understand his brother dying, and I feel bad for him. But come on, Stephon. Either you're going to play for the Steelers or you're not. Okay? And if you're not going to play for the Steelers, quit leading the Steelers into the lurch and stop it. Okay? Let the Steelers, please notify the Steelers. Tell them, hey, look, what I can't understand is how difficult is it to pick up a telephone and call Mike Tomlin or Kevin Colbert or the janitor or whoever at the Steeler office is and say, hey, look, I'm not going to be able to be there this year. I don't know if I really want to play for the Steelers anymore. I don't know what's going on. So all I know is I don't want to play. Thank you. Now all we keep hearing from the Steelers because of Tuitt is, well, he's still on the team, but we don't know if he's going to play or we're not sure. If I'm the Steelers, I'd push him in a corner. I'd say, hey, look, Stephon, I know your brother died. I'm sorry, but this is business here. We have to get our team going for the year. We have to go into draft knowing what we need. And right now, Stephon, by you not giving us an answer, you're tying everything up. So what you need to do is you need to go ahead and do that as well. All right. So what I'm saying to you is that Stephon Tuitt, for what sake of imagination it is, and again, I'm not sounding insensitive at all. All I'm saying is that Stephon Tuitt needs to wake up and he needs to let everyone know what's going on. He needs to tell people, hey, look, we have I'm not interested in playing for the Steelers anymore. I'm not interested in playing football anymore. All right. So instead of leaving the Steelers in the lurch, that's exactly what he's doing. And I think it's wrong. And I think he needs to do something. I think Tyson Alawu needs to step up and say, hey, look, I don't know what I'm going to do this year. Okay. Because beyond Tyson Alawu in the depth chart is Mondo, okay, Martavius Adams, all right, and Loudermilk, okay. So you have 3 other guys, all right. Adams came off the scrap heap, off of somebody's scrap heap, okay, last year. He played well. I'll give him credit. He did. Mondo played pretty decent, and Loudermilk was in there quite a lot. But we need to start getting some guys. We need to go into this draft and get 1, maybe 2 defensive linemen because we don't know what Alawu and what Tuitt are going to do, and it's a mystery. All right. The offensive line, I think they should go in the second round and start offensive line. They should draft Daniel Falala, offensive tackle, Minnesota. This guy is 6'9", weighs 380 pounds, and he's like a brick house. I think they need to bring him in here. He's got a mean streak like Kimoyatu in them. And they need to bring him in here, and he can mow everybody over so Najee Harris can run the football. All right. I think one of the 5 quarterbacks that are supposed to be the best, the star quarterbacks for this draft, okay, I think one of them could fall to the Steelers in the 3rd round. And I'm thinking it's either going to be Desmond Ridder or Carson Strong. And if Desmond Ritter's not available, in the 3rd round, you take Carson Strong. Or in the 2nd round, you take Carson Strong and then see if Daniel Falala will be available in the 3rd round. Okay. All right. Next, 4th round. I think I should take Kenneth Walker III. He's a running back from Michigan State. I know what you're saying. We don't need a running back. Yes, we do. Benny Snell stinks. And I call him Benny Smell because you know why? He's terrible and he stinks. Yeah, that's right. He stinks. Okay. And Kalen Bassage, who knows what he's going to do. And beyond that, we have Anthony McFarland, who was hurt much of last year. Didn't get a lot of playing time. So the running back situation's in question too, because now we have Najee Harris possibly going to be there by himself. But here in the 5th round, I think that's when we're going to address the wide receiver notion. I think they should take Javon Hollick, wide receiver, Coastal Carolina, or Dejon Dixon, wide receiver, Nicholls State. Javon Dixon, 6'3", 208. You know, that's my kind of receiver, a guy that's like 6'3", 6'4" or above, that can catch the football and can run. This guy, Nicholls State, he's from a small college, but still, I think he's a good wide receiver for the 5th round. 6th round, Arnold Abibaki, tight end, Abibaki, defensive end, Penn State, or Marquin McCall, defensive tackle, Kentucky, 6'3", 346. This guy is huge. I think we should look at him in the 6th round, or Jack Sanborn, outside linebacker from Wisconsin, which happens to be where TJ Watt went to school. Next, 7th round, Kobe Bryant, cornerback, Cincy, or Bubba Bolden, safety from Miami. All right, comment section's wide open. What's your thoughts tonight, Pittsburgh? Who should the Steelers draft? The draft's coming up in about 35 minutes, and we're going to be off the air here at 5-2 so we can get ready for the draft. I will be back on here on both Facebook and YouTube with the Steeler pick. We will discuss it, and you can put your comments in the comments section as well right after they make their first pick tonight. I don't know when that will be. We will find out. It depends on how fast everybody else moves along. All right. How many commercials they have, how many of this and how many of that, how much they want to sit there and analyze and talk. And you know how that goes with the draft. And you know how it is all across the board. Okay. So, all right, let's take a look at the Steeler depth chart a little bit here. On defense, on offense, wide receiver, they have Chase Claypool and Deontay Johnson. All right. And they're real slim at wide receiver. And they just signed that Gorski guy from New England. All right. On the line, they have Dan Moore, Kevin Dotson. BJ Finney's not going to be here no longer. Trey Turner's probably gone. Chick-Sakura 4 is back. This is what's remaining of what's currently on the team before we sign the free agents. Okay. Pat Freiermuth, Mason Rudolph, Najee Harris. And then we signed Mitch Trubisky and Dwayne Haskins, unfortunately, had a death. Pat Freiermuth. Beyond Pat Freiermuth, we have Zach Gentry and Kevin Rader. I don't think we need to look at a tight end, but if there's a stud out there, take him. All right. Okay. Zach Banner's gone. Malcolm Pridgeon's still around somewhere. I don't know where he is, but I think he's still going to be part of the team. Joe Haeg, as I mentioned before. Wide receiver, we also have Cody White, so he's still in the fold. So right now we have 4 wide receivers because we have Chase Claypool, We have Deontay Johnson. We just signed Miles Boykin from the Ravens and Cody White. Cody White's been with the team for a little while here. I say, this is what I say. Bring back Eli Rogers when the USFL season's over. That's what I think the Steelers should do. He's playing in the USFL right now, so I think that's what they need to do with that there as well. Running back is real thin in the herd. As I said before, they have Najee Harris. They got the bum Benny Smell. I think he stinks. I don't know what anyone else thinks, but he's just a terrible running back. Kalen Ballage. I say that they draft Letty Brown from West Virginia. He's 240, 240 pounds, 6 feet tall. He's a bruiser. He runs like Jerome Bettis. I think the Steelers should take him as a running back as well. All right, let's take a look at the defense now. Defensive end, Cameron Hayward, or defensive tackle, wherever you want to call it. Isaiah Loudermilk's behind him. Tyson Alawu, Henry Mondeaux, Stephon Tuitt's still a question mark. And I forgot about Chris Wormley. We still have him on the team. Alex Highsmith at outside linebacker. And then we have Taco Charlton behind him. But Taco Charlton's gone. He went to New Orleans. So he's out of the picture. Devin Bush, he's another one on the bubble. No one knows what he's going to do. Steelers bumped up to number 10 in the draft to get him a few years back. He's got to come and do something this year. Ulysses Gilbert III, he's been nothing but special teams. Joe Schobert's gone. I'm glad for that. Robert Spillane was re-signed. TJ Watt at linebacker. Derek Tushka. Tushka he did a pretty decent job filling in this year. I think he's going to be a pretty decent linebacker. He came to play cornerback. Let's get into cornerbacks. Joe Hayden gone. Akili Witherspoon was re-signed. Cameron Sutton, James Pierre. And then the Steelers are going to have to probably, they got that Levi Wallace from Buffalo. So that kind of filled a little bit of that gap, but they still need to go get a couple in the draft, maybe an undrafted free agent, and I say, let's wait and see what the Steelers or what happens. See, there's always there's always going to be some veteran players out there, that get released by other teams. And they're going to be out there. And I think the Steelers might be able to capitalize on that. So let's see what they do with that. All right. Next is strong safety Terrell Evans. They just re-signed him. Miles Kennebrew, they signed him again. He's a special teamer. Got a lot of playing time this year because they were thin in the herd on strong safety. Minkah Fitzpatrick, free safety. His backup, Trey Norwood. Of course, Trey Norwood's has been a pretty decent player. He was drafted last year in the late rounds. Presley Harvin III is our punter. Our kicker, Chris Boswell, and our long snappers, Christian Kuntz. If I'm the Steelers, I would probably bring in Cal Anamitis as a long snapper, just in case Christian Kuntz doesn't work out this year. There were rumors going around that he was like a Cameron Canaday. He really wasn't that great, and he's not that strong to be able to withstand, the long snapping duties in the NFL. All right. We did this last week, and we did it on Monday on the show, on the TV show of Sports Corner. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go over all the different top 20s of all the different positions right now. Okay, because there's several top 20 positions, or every position has a top 20 as to where they are as far as the draft goes. All right, first we're going to start with quarterbacks. Okay, so let's get into cornerbacks now. We have Kenny Pickett. He's number 1, but we're going to start at number 20. Armani Rogers, Ohio. All right, Anthony Brown, Oregon. Milton McKenzie, Florida State. Nick Starkel. I'm sorry, Mackenzie Milton, not Milton McKenzie. Wow, Mackenzie Milton, Florida State. Nick Starkel, San Jose State. Skylar Thompson, Kansas State. Brandon Peters, Illinois. Chase Gerbers, California. Dustin Crum, Kent State. I watched Dustin Crum play. He's a decent quarterback. His line kind of let him down in a bowl game. He didn't look all that great. E.J. Perry Brown, Brown University. Brock Purdy. I like Brock Purdy, Iowa State. D'Eriq King here. Now we're going to get into the top 10. Number 10, D'Eriq King from Miami. Jack Cohn from Notre Dame. Bailey Zappi, Western Kentucky. Khalif Alibe, Western Michigan. Here's a guy that put 44 points up against Pitt. All right. He's with, of course, the nightmare, Western Michigan. All right, Carson Strong, Nevada. I already told you where I think he's going to go. Desmond Ritter, number 5. Number 4, Sam Howell. Number 3, Malik Willis. Number 2, Matt Corral. And number 1, of course, Kenny Pickett. Running backs, Breece Hall is number 1 from Iowa State. Really good running back. We'll see where he goes as far as this as well. All right, let's start at there's a top 25 in running backs because there's enough to justify a top 25. Here's Letty Brown at number 24. I think the Steelers could pick him up in the late rounds. I told you he's a good running back, very, very good at running the football. He's weighs about 240, and he's about 6 feet. He looks like another Jerome Bettis. I think he could be a really good running back for the Steelers, and would be the type of running back that the Steelers want to complement Najee Harris, and see where that all goes. And we're going to go over the draft order as to who's drafting and what and what number and how that's working out. Because the reason I say this is because we need to take a look at this, because it's important that the Steelers have to realize that some of the people that they're going to want are going to be gone. And I don't know if any of these quarterbacks are going to be available that they're looking for. I believe they're probably all going to be gone by that time. So what I'm thinking is if that's the case, then, we're going to have a serious problem here trying to get what we need because of that situation. And, so let's take a look and see what we have as far as the scouting report on I'm trying to get the scouting report here on Letty Brown. Let's see where we're at here. Jalen Nailor's another good running back. He played Michigan State. I watched him in the game against he's a good wide receiver. Game against Pitt, where he was Sky Moore. He's with Western Michigan. 5'9" wide receiver, 195 from Western Michigan. He played in the game against Pitt. Drake London. Hey, you know what? If Drake London's available and our quarterbacks aren't, I would take Drake London. He's a good wide receiver. I think he should be picked up. Steelers do need wide receiver help now. They didn't earlier before. And so there we are with that as well. All right. And as I said, Letty Brown, to me, I would take him. He would be the likely candidate to be available as far as all that goes, because then that way Letty Brown, as I said, or even Kenneth Walker, if we get him, or Jerome Ford from Cincinnati, there's a good one. Rashard White, Arizona State, so there we are with some of this. Pierre Strong Jr., South Dakota State, senior running back, 205, 5'11". There's a bunch of guys here for running back as well, other than Letty Brown, but I think Letty Brown should be the one to be picked up by the Steelers. All right, let's go up the list some more here. Master Teague, the third, Ohio State. Damian Pierce, Florida. Tyrion Davis Price, LSU. Pierre Strong Jr., we just talked about. CJ Verdell, Oregon. I think he might not be a bad idea. Tyler Goodson, Iowa. Max Borghi, Washington State. There's a good running back. Okay. Let's take a look at number 16, Abram Smith, Baylor. Rashid White, Arizona State. Kennedy Brooks, Oklahoma. University of Texas, El Paso. Sincere McCormick. Devontae Price, Florida International, at number 12. At number 11, Jarian Ely, Ole Miss. Here we are now. We're getting into the big guys, the top 10. Hassan Haskins, Michigan. There's another good running back that may be available in the early or the middle rounds for the Steelers. Also, Jerome Ford, Brian Robinson Jr., Alabama, Zamir White, Georgia, Tyler Aguirre, BYU, James Cook, Georgia, Notre Dame, Kieran Williams, Kenneth Walker III, who I think is available, Isaiah Spiller, and Breece Hall. Breece Hall will probably go in the first round because he's rated the number 1 running back. Somebody needs a running back, so we'll see how that all works out. But you have 9 teams this year pretty much that need quarterbacks. So the top 5 being there at that time may not work out for the Steelers, okay? But let's look at the top 10 wide receivers because this is a top 40 list and it's very long, and I'm not sure if I'm going to have time to read it anyway. Justin Ross, number 10 from Clemson. Alabama, John Mechie, the third. David Bell, Purdue. Johan Dotson. There's another one. He's slated to go in the first round. Drake London slated to go in the first round. George Pickens, Chris Olave, Traylon Burks, Jamison Williams, and Garrett Wilson. Number 1 is scheduled to go in the first round. Tight ends, Jalen Waltmeyer. Not that we need any, but I propose we go with Cole Turner from Nevada or Lucas Kroll from Pitt. It's not going to, if we do it, let's do it in the later rounds. And I think we should get Lucas Kroll from Pitt. That would be the obvious selection. All right, now let's take a look at see my Daniel Falala here. He's at number 6 of offensive tackles. I think we should take him. Sean Ryan, Trevor Penning. Trevor Penning is from Northern Iowa, and he ran a pretty good 40 at the combine, and that's Smoking Jim's, his pick for the Steelers. Comment section's wide open. We're here till 7:55, and then we're going off to get ready for the NFL draft. All right, next, Charles Cross, Mississippi State. There's a couple mock drafts out there. I have the Steelers getting him. We'll see where that goes. Akeem Alkawanu from my one of my other favorite schools, other than Pitt, North Carolina State, and Alabama's Evan Neal is at number 1. All right, next, offensive guards. All right, Darian Kennard, Kentucky, number 2. Kenyon Green, number 1, Texas A&M. All right, Thayer Mumford. Okay, here, let's go to the bottom here at number 15. Justin Schaefer, Georgia. Andrew Stuber, Michigan. Tulsa's Chris Paul. Nick Ford from Utah. Nick Ford's not a bad choice. Cade Mays, Ed Ingram, LSU. Luke Ganoko, Central Michigan. And there's 2 from Central Michigan there this year. You got that Bernard Raymond at number 7. He's available. There's a couple mock drafts out there have the Steelers taking him. So we'll see where that goes. Zion Johnson from Boston College. All right. And then Darian Kennard, Kentucky. And Kenyon Green, Texas A&M. Centers, I don't think the Steelers are going to go for a center. But if there's one available in the late rounds, I would take Cameron Jurgensen from Nebraska. I don't think anybody else will be available at that point. Alec Lindstrom from Boston College is not a bad idea either. I heard he's very well under. He's number 3 in the draft. Tyler Linderbaum from Iowa is at number 1. Number 2 is Dylan Parham. All right, let's start with the defense now. All right, we can go. We can start with the. We can start with the linebackers or the defensive tackles here. Let's get into that here. All right, here we are. Okay, we have defensive ends. There's 25, top 25 this year. But we're going to start with number 10, Logan Hall from Houston. Kingsley Enkelbor, South Carolina. And then we have Jermaine Johnson Jr. from Florida State. Cameron Thomas, San Diego State. Drake Jackson, USC. George Kartalitis, Purdue. They're saying the first 5 could go in the first round. Michigan's Aiden Hutchinson, he could go in the first round. Travon Walker, Georgia, he could go in the first round. David Ojigbo, and then we got Travis Jones. I'm trying to see where he is on this list. I know he's not that far down. Oh no, that's the defensive ends. I'm sorry. Defensive tackles, DeMarvin Leo, Jordan Davis as well. Devontae Wyatt at number 3. At number 4, Darian Mathis. There's Travis Jones. He's at number 5 from UConn. I think the Steelers should take him if the quarterback or Drake London is not available at wide receiver at number 1. There's bundle, a ton of wide receivers in this draft. Steelers could probably get two, maybe one, and then go out free agency and fill in the blanks. Okay, Perron Winfrey, defensive tackle, Oklahoma. Haskell Garrett, Ohio State. Matthew Butler, Tennessee. Zachary Carter from Florida, also. And as far as defensive tackles go, I'll tell you what. Here's another one: Ben Stille, Nebraska. Nebraska always pumps out good defensive players. I wouldn't hesitate to take him as well if Travis Jones is not available. Inside linebacker, Steelers need at least one. Chad Muma, that'd be the dream if he was there, or Brandon Smith from Penn State. Also, Josh Ross from Michigan, Ellis Brooks from Penn State. I think that that wouldn't be a bad thought for inside linebacker if they needed. Leo Chanel from Wisconsin. There's another good one. Outside linebackers are going to at least need one. If they can get two, that would be a bonus. Number 20, Zach McLeod, Ali Fahad, Western Michigan. And number 24, number 23, Carson Wells, Colorado. Let's go with the top 10. Terrell Bernard, Baylor. Jojo Duman, Nebraska. Jesse Lukita, Penn State. Penn State got a lot of defensive players in this draft this year. That's a great thing. They have a lot of draft people, or a lot of athletes, period. They always do. Devon Lloyd, Utah. Nakobe Dean, Georgia. Nick Bonito, Oklahoma. Channing Tindall, Georgia. Zacoby McClain, Auburn. Montana State, Troy Anderson. I wouldn't mind if we even got him. He's a good player. And then Brian Asamoah, Oklahoma. Jesse Lukita, Penn State. Jojo Doman. There's another one from Nebraska. And then Terrell Bernard from Baylor. Those are the guys in the top 10. I like this Jack Sanborn at number 12. I have him down on my draft for the Steelers to pick if they were to get him in a later round. Jack Sanborn, that would be a really good idea. Let's look at the top 10 cornerbacks. Rumors are going around. Steelers might try to trade up to try to get Derek Stingley Jr. if all means necessary. I guess if nothing's available that they wanted. I'm not sold on Derek Stingley, and let me tell you why. I read some reports that he's injury prone. He really hasn't played that much. I think this crop of top 30 here isn't too bad. You got the Kirby Duren from South Carolina State. We all know some good safeties and corners from there. Donnie Shell is one of them. Let's take a look at starting with the top 10. Jalen Armour Davis, Alabama. Martin Emerson Jr., Mississippi State. Khalil Aleem, Florida. Roger McCreary, Auburn. Andrew Booth Jr., Clemson. There you go. We're familiar with him from when he played against Pitt and all the other ACC teams if you watched their games this year. Washington, Kyler Gordon. Darian Kendrick, Georgia. Washington. Trent McDuffie. Ahmad Gardner at number 2, Cincinnati. I would take him if he's available. He's a good corner. He's better than Derek Stingley, I think, but that's just my opinion. All the other scouts have him rated at a different spot. Okay, safeties. Kyle Hamilton. This is another Smoking Jim pick. Daxton Hill, Michigan. Your comments are welcome here tonight. Where you're watching Sports Corner NFL Draft Show and preview. I was going to have Smoking Jim on tonight. My Smoking Jim Frazier, my co-host with me on the Sports Corner TV show, but he had some technical difficulties and couldn't get through. Brian Cook, Cincinnati at number 5. Lewis Sign at number 4. Jaquan Brisker, Penn State. Daxton Hill, Michigan at number 2. Kirby Joseph, Illinois. Nick Cross, Maryland. Marquise Bell, Florida A&M. Bubba Bolden at number 13. I think he might be available for the Steelers. If I'm Steelers, I'd look at Bubba Bolden in the late rounds. Tyson Anderson, Toledo. You got to look at guys like that in the late rounds. Even Reed Blankenship from Middle Tennessee. I mean, guys like that from these little colleges, you'd be surprised what you're going to get. Special teams, Jordan Stout, punter for Penn State. I talked to some cab drivers, and they told me that they think the Steelers are going to take Jordan Stout, punter from Penn State in the first round. So we'll see how that works out. All right, Jake Camarda, punter, Georgia. Jonathan Carabay, Texas Tech, he's a kicker. Iowa State's Andrew Mevis, he's a kicker. Matt Arelis, another punter. San Diego State at number 5. And Cal Adamitis from Pittsburgh, from the Pitt, he's a long snapper at number 8. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised. The Steelers have at one point did draft a long snapper one time. He never made the team though, but they drafted a long snapper. Now the number 1 pick this year is going to be Jacksonville. They get the number 1 pick. Detroit's number 2, but Detroit has some other picks coming. They have the Rams' 30th pick because remember in the trade for Matthew Stafford, they got Jared Goff up there in Detroit, and Detroit also got a few of the Rams' draft picks. The Rams are cut short Miami for Tyreek Hill. They're only going to be picking. They won't be picking until like the 3rd round. They gave up a lot of draft capital to get him down there to help Tua down there at quarterback. And we'll go from there. We'll see what these teams do in the draft. We'll see who they draft. Carolina's looking for a quarterback. New Orleans looking for a quarterback. Even though they have Jameson Winston, and they just signed Marcus Mariota. And so here we are with those guys needing a quarterback. Carolina's looking for a quarterback. Washington's looking for a safety net because the Washington Commanders have signed got Carson Wentz in the trade, and signed Carson Wentz. He was sitting out there, and now the Indianapolis Colts have Matt Ryan. So Atlanta's looking for a quarterback. So you see, there are a lot of teams really looking for quarterbacks this year. And it's going to be a real grind to see if the Steelers can even get one that they want. But again, I think that Carson Strong would be an adequate quarterback for them to develop in the next year or two to be the quarterback. They have Trubisky as the stopgap, or if Mason Rudolph comes through, they have him as well. So I don't see where this could be too much of a problem. You've been watching Sports Corner with Ralph Williams, NFL Draft Special. Just some announcements for you. Don't forget that tomorrow, 7 p.m., the way I see it live here on YouTube and Facebook, my guest will be Brian Englert, the president of the union that represents the guards down at the county jail. Don't forget Saturday, 5 p.m., Sports Corner, PCTV Channel 21, Comcast, 47, Verizon, and PCTV's Facebook page if you want to catch my TV version of that show. Sunday night, 8 o'clock, post-draft show. We're going to go over all the Steeler draft picks, who they drafted, because I will not be available for immediately after the last day of the draft. I will be available to name off the last pick or the last couple of picks for the day for the Steelers on Saturday. But I will not be doing the post-draft of the Steelers NFL draft until Sunday night, 8 o'clock, right here on Facebook and YouTube. And then after that at 9:35, the way I see it, Sunday edition is coming up as well. Next week, Tuesday night, 8 o'clock, Sports Corner, its usual time, Facebook and or YouTube. I'm trying to get a Penguin guy on to talk about the Penguins. See what's going on. I'm trying to get somebody. I'm working on that right now. We'll see what happens there. If not, then we'll be talking what we normally do. And then next Thursday, 10:15 p.m., a very special. We're going to have what they call a draft summit. I have Scott Morgenroth coming back on. He's going to talk about the Dolphins, the Tampa Bay Bucks, and the Jacksonville Jaguars, probably the Detroit Lions, and many more. And also, we're going to have a few other folks on as well talking about I'm trying to get the guy from New England on here and a few other people to talk about what their teams drafted. Did they like who they drafted and what they drafted and so on? That will be next Thursday. That will be at 10:15 at night. Also, don't forget next week at 8 o'clock, my Blog Talk Radio sports program, Black and Gold Sports Show, with myself and Mark Mancini. Your comments and call, and also you can listen by calling 347-205-9631 next Thursday for that as well. And as usual on Friday nights, we have The Way I See It. So that is the schedule for next week. And don't forget on Wednesday night, Mauler Talk. And don't forget on Sunday, Mauler pregame and postgame. Maulers play this week. 2:30 p.m. They're going to be on the USA Network. And they play the Michigan Panthers, coached by Jeff Fisher. Haven't won a game. Neither have the Maulers. But at least the Maulers didn't look foolish. They didn't turn over the football. They didn't make dumb bum mistakes, except for a couple penalties last time around. They played pretty clean football this time, just came up short. So we'll see what happens there. And I got to make sure I don't have a piece of pizza and I have to eat the chicken salad from, the team meal, or I'm fired. So, and I'm sure everyone knows about that as well. All right. I'm Ralph Williams. It's been great to be here tonight to talk draft with you. Enjoy the NFL draft. I'll be back after the Steelers make their first pick, because all it is round 1 tonight. Tomorrow, rounds 2, 3, and 4. Saturday, rounds 5, 6, and 7. All right. Tomorrow night starts at 7, and then Sunday or Saturday at noontime. All right. So the draft will start at noontime. All right. There's 800 activities going on this weekend. Please be safe. And good night. Have a good one. Be safe. Don't forget about my other shows and all different types of activities going on with me as well. So, all right. So everyone have a great one. Thank you. Good night.